Here with us today, we have President Franklin D. Roosevelt and a well-known bank representative, Ryan Segura, to state their opinions and answer some questions many people want to know. We will now proceed to the interview, starting off with our President, FDR.
Hello, fellow Americans. This is YWN. I'm Nathan Podgorny here with Eduardo Lopez, broadcasting what we, a professional banker and the President of the United States, think about the Banking Act of 1935. How are you today, Mr. President?
I'm doing very well. It's an honor to be here tonight.
That's good to hear, Mr. President. I have a few questions for you today concerning the Bank Act that you developed recently.
Please, ask all the questions you can. I'm here to explain every detail there is about the Bank Act.
Many Americans today are unsure or don't even know what the Bank Act exactly is. Can you please briefly explain it?
Yes, of course. The Bank Act was created to address three major problems within the Federal Reserve System. They were the structure, power, and function of it.
How did you address these problems?
To fix these problems, we strengthened the relationship between the Federal Reserve and the executive and legislative branches of the federal government. This helped to put the Federal Reserve System back on the right track.
How did the Great Depression play a role in today's banks and how they operate?
The Great Depression was the reason why we had so many bank failures. On October 29, 1929, when the stock market crashed, many people lost their hard-earned money due to the bank failures. Banks failed simply because there wasn't any money being deposited for banks to invest and make profits. And also, many people started to withdraw all of their deposits, causing the banks to run out of funds even faster. An independent agency of the federal government called the FDIC was created in 1933 to deal with the thousands of bank failures that occurred back during the Great Depression. Since the start of the FDIC on January 1, 1935, no depositor has lost a single cent of insured funds because of a bank failure.
What other important things do the American people have to know about the Bank Act?
The American people need to know the impact the Bank Act had on the Federal Reserve banks. The Act completely changed the concept of the Federal Reserve, which was originally to prove to the American people that it was stable and people should have faith in it again. The Bank Act also changed things like the name of the chief executive officers of the reserve banks. It required that reserve banks establish discount rates at least every 14 days and created a Federal Open Market Committee. The Banking Act of 1935 also established a new relationship between the Board of Governors and the 12 Federal Reserve banks.
Thank you, Mr. President, for coming out here tonight. I'm sure you have answered many of the questions our listeners are just dying to know, and for being so clear about the details of the Bank Act.
No, please, it's my pleasure. I'm just doing my job, and thank you for inviting me here.
Now here with us today, we have Ryan Segura, a very prestigious bank representative, and my co-host, Eduardo, will be taking over from here.
Hello again, people of America. I'm here today to interview Ryan and ask for his opinion on the matter. So Ryan, how did the Bank Act of 1935 directly affect you?
Well, since the Bank Act was created to prevent bank failures by having bank deposits insured, it really helped the banks stay open and not close due to people not having faith on banks because of the terrible stock market.
Can you tell us about the history and development of the Bank Act and how it helped out our banks?
Sure, I can. In the Bank Act of 1933, 2 years before President FDR created the improv version of this act, the Bank Act of 1935, the Federal Deposit Corporation, also known as the FDIC, guaranteed banks deposit up to a certain amount, but it was only used by insured financial institution as a temporary government corporation. But because of its success, President FDR decided to add it to the Bank Act of 1935, thus improving the financial world forever.
So, overall, do you think that the act was an improvement from the older act of 1933?
I believe it was a major improvement. It not only changed the banks themselves permanently, but also changed the image of banks everywhere. No longer did everyone think banks were just going to lose your money, but now they came to understand that the banks are safe and secure again.
Well, that pretty much wraps up today's fireside chat. Thank you all for listening.